Pile Up reminded me of old mobile games, where you need to put on the floor on another and pray that the bigger structure doesn't collapse. But this city building strategy offers much more diverse gameplay. Here you have to build an entire skyscraper city on a small island. What came of it, I will tell in the review. Let's go. In Pile Up there is no plot. And at the time of early access, you can try only two mods, Standard and Sandbox, and build up two unique islands. Before starting constructions, we are offered to choose a name for future city, as well as figure out how the local residents will be called. A nice little thing that allow us to use imagine that we are creating our own city or something functional from our imagination. Building progress in PyLab. Simplified and similar to a puzzle, and the gameplay itself is turn-based. The game will end when the population grows to 5,000 people. Or if there is a riot, even through the developer's positions the title as relaxing, you can also lose. At first, we see only an empty square area, the basis for the future skyscraper. I will have to place various buildings, presented in the form of cards. In one turn, you can place a certain number of buildings, after which a new day begins. The buildings are diverse. There are multi-story buildings and very tiny dwellings, casinos, schools, prisons and many others. In general, they can be divided into non-production and production. The latter include factories, gas boilers, power plants and the like. Buildings can and should be placed on top of each other, and you don't need to worry about the space between them, stairs and at least some logic in the constructions. The casual construction process allows you to build both neat skyscraper cities and chaotic mega cities, as it is from dystopian works. We were pleased with the animation of the constructions. We are only required to select the building and its location, and then the game itself will finish the picture. Windows and doors will appear in a cube with bare walls. A fence will grow out on a nowhere on the roof, and long supports will be stretched directly into the sea. Pile Up, able to draw charming pictures, and its pleasure to watch them take on scale. There are only two main indicators in the strategy, the population and the level of happiness. The first, as mentioned, is need to achieve the goal of the game, and the second will not allow you to do it easily. Residential buildings attract new settlers, but they have to a need for water, electricity, gas, and nature. Is it enough to build a park here? If the number of unfortunate residents exceeds the happy part of the population, then the game will end in a couple of moves. But with such rules, the game will be too simple. Build yourself a skyscraper, install gas, and watch the population grow. However, the placement of industrial buildings will have to be approached with caution, since gas boiler can explode and water tanks can be brick roofs. As a result, people will die and it will be much harder to achieve the required level of happiness. Not all buildings are in PLAP available from the start. The game also has a global progression. It is quite simple. In the part we get the currency, which we then spend on the city plan. The pumping is tree-like, the links are different buildings. They can don't make constructions easier, but make it more diverse, so each badge will be more interesting than the previous one. The lamp atmosphere is broken only by the camera, the control of which turned out to be widely inconvenient. So much so that I was not able to go through with this stage in the tutorial due to a bug. And in normal mode I had to do a lot of mouse manipulations to set up the desired view. Camera in PLAB plays an important role, but so far this is the weakest point of the title. Behind the guise of removed developers is a group of Turkish high school students who just love games, so they can be forgiven for translations flaws. They are not averse to chatting with the community on Discord and getting feedback from the players there. It's nice that the guys are burning with the project and intend to develop it. PyLab look ambitious, but in early access it's unlikely to be able to attract a large audience. So far there is little content in the game. The camera needs to be improved, and the program code often skips in translations. However, there are more advantages. The game skillfully combines strategy with a puzzle. There is a global progression. The gameplay is very clear and simple. The number of buildings at the current stage is impressive. And watching the nice animation and how our city grows is pleasure that cannot be expressed through text. Recommended and hope Pilab gets to release.